Alright everybody, it is the 15th, and I did not get a video to you guys yesterday because I worked a 12-hour shift yesterday, and after working for 12 hours, I didn't really, and also being extremely tired the whole time because I didn't quite get enough sleep the night before, yeah, I wasn't really in any shape to make a video or form coherent thoughts. I'm still not, really. Today was a little bit better, not too much. But at least I got a workout in today. Solid workout. Arm day today, so I got, some more BFR scars going on. Well, not scars, whatever. Yeah, so today today and yesterday I got quite a lot of writing work done because, just plenty of time to do so at work. And today, one of the sections that I really, have been grinding my head against because I guess I didn't really expect there to be as much literature on the topic as there is. But basically it's the topic of warm-ups. And so there's turned out to be a surprising amount of research on the topic, which I did not expect. And so it took me, quite a while to get the section done, and I had to cite a lot more things than I expected. So, let's start off with the topic of cooldowns, because cooldowns are way easier. We don't really know if cooldowns are useful or not, as far as I can tell. I haven't found really much of any research on it or anything. I found a couple studies, but they were extremely, ambivalent on it. It probably doesn't do much of anything. So you can probably skip a cooldown. It probably doesn't, do that much for you. Does it help a little bit? Yeah, but at the same time, if you're doing 400-pound squats and then you're gonna, drop back down to doing some 135s or something before you're done, that seems kind of silly. And if you're doing an endurance thing, like running or something like that, yeah, maybe you want to take a few minutes to cool down at the end, before you're done, but I don't think I think it's probably not important at all when it comes to lifting weights. Now, the topic of warm-ups is a lot more complicated, and it is important. Warm-ups are actually pretty useful. So, important part number one is stretching. So, if you're using stretching as a warm-up, if you're doing stretches as part of your warm-up, that's probably not doing anything for you. So the topic of stretching and flexibility in general is actually a really interesting one, and a lot of the research on it contradicts a lot of what people actually believe about flexibility. I could go into another whole video about that for 20-30 minutes, so I don't want to do it now. I did do a write-up on it on the Personal Trainer Development Center a while back. There's some really good stuff if you search painscience.com. And you search Quite a Stretch is the name of his article. That's Paul Ingram. So there's stuff out there. I'll get to it another time. But basically, stretching is not a good warm-up. The idea of a warm-up is there's a few things. It's to improve your recovery, whether that's performance or soreness, perception of soreness. You ideally want it to prepare you for the activity at hand. So you want it to raise your core temperature a little bit, and you want it to use the muscles that you're going to be using, and you want it to ideally enable you to move, to perform better subsequently, and to be less injured. So stretching doesn't do it might warm you up a little bit. It might get your blood pumping, but it's not going to really activate the muscles as much because, you're not actually activating them, you're just stretching them. And it's not going to prevent injury. There's, pretty good research that says, they had literally tons of people do a stretching routine and, and there was no difference in injury rates. And stretching isn't going to improve performance, and it actually can decrease performance if you hold a really, really long stretch. Now, the studies in question were holding stretches for 60 seconds or longer. most people are not holding stretches for 60 seconds. They're holding them for maybe 20 or 30 seconds. But there is that, it's likely that it's dose dependent. It's likely that, more is worse. So that means that the longer you hold the stretch, the worse you're going to be. And it's likely that short duration stretches aren't going to have any impact. But again, they don't really do any of the other things you really expect out of a warm-up. So it doesn't seem like, it just doesn't seem like a good idea. Now, on the other hand, we have plenty of research. We have some very there's decent quality research that suggests that warm-ups do work. There's 2 really big studies that use athletes, large numbers of athletes, like thousands. And, they tested, people who did a warm-up routine that included what we call mobilizations or, dynamic stretching. And they did see, they did see marked increases or decreases in injury rates. And, and there's lots of evidence that shows that, just in general, a warm-up is good for performance. So, so the question is, what kind of warm-up should you be doing? Ideally, you're doing something as specific to the task at hand as possible. And you want it to be just a lighter version of that same activity to help, activate the muscles or whatever it is that you're going to be using, and to basically prepare you mentally to do that task. So, if I'm going to be running, as my workout for today, I'm going to go for a 30-minute run. I might do a 5-minute, lighter, not as fast, building up in speed until I get to, whatever pace I'm going to maintain for those 30 minutes. That's a good warm-up for running. Does that mean that I should be doing, a bunch of stretches before I run? No, probably not. Does that mean I should be doing other mobilizations? Yeah, probably. It's not going to be as effective, it's not going to be as useful, but it's still a good idea to get what we call, some generalized warm-up in, which is essentially, stuff that isn't directly related to what you're going to be doing. So for your running, that might be, some squats, some deadlifts, some kind of, lower body, very light lower body lifts, just to kind of activate those muscles. Now, if we're doing, say, heavy lifting for the day, you're going to totally flip-flop that. So, you might do a little bit of running to get your, your cardio going, to get your system, your blood pumping, but it's going to be more useful and more effective to simply do, say we're going to be squatting today. If I'm going to be squatting, I might do a little bit of running, but the main thing I'm going to be focusing on is squatting first at body weight and then building up in weight until I get to the weight I'm going to be using, and then I use that weight. So, of course, most lifters know this. Most lifters are already doing this. If you have a 400-pound squat for the day, you're going to be building up at 135, 185, 225, 275, 315, 365. Then you're going to, jump up to your 400. Lifters know that. It's also important not to make that take too long. I see a lot of people screw up lifting warm-ups by either taking too few sets or too many sets, and taking those sets a little too seriously as if they're actual work. So, first step is, you should be doing about two, 3, or 4 sets probably, depending on how strong you are, depending on, how big of a jump you have to make. If you're doing 5, 6, 7, warm-up sets, that's kind of silly. You're probably wasting your time. You could either be starting off a little bit higher, or you could be taking larger jumps. On the other hand, there's a lot of people who treat lifting warm-ups like they're a serious workout. And I used to do this too. I used to do this exact same thing, and it clicked with me because I was talking to a guy in the gym, and he's, basically what I would do is I would do like 12s. And, I would be, building up to a heavy set of, say, 3 to 5, and I would, I'd be doing 12 at 135, 12 at 185, 12 at 225, and then I would be doing, 8 at 275, or, something like that. And then I would be doing, my 3 to 5 reps in the, somewhere in the 300s. And that's silly because you're exhausting yourself before you even get to the main work for the day. You don't want to be doing serious work as a warm-up. That's just a bad idea. That's the biggest mistake, is just taking that warm-up a little bit too hard. So, I like to say, if you are if you want to keep the amount of reps you're doing to typically the reps that you're going to be doing in your actual sets or less. So if I'm doing, working sets of 5 reps at 350 or so, I'm going to do 5 reps at 135. I'm going to do 5 reps at, at 185 and so on up the ladder until I get to, that weight. I'm not going to be doing 12s. I'm not going to be doing 20s. I'm not going to be doing anything crazy like that because ideally, again, you don't want it to tire you out. And sometimes, even if I'm doing, a few more reps, like say I'm doing 12s, like doing some bodybuilding work, I'm probably not going to build up to that using 12s. I'll probably build up to that using 6s or something like that. Because again, you just want to keep it less intense. You want to keep it less stressful. The point of these sets is not to be taxing your system. It's just to be activating the muscles at each weight so that your body, gets used to it and ramps up appropriately. So you're not making such a huge jump from 0 to 350. So yeah, that's essentially the stuff on warm-ups. And again, there's a lot more research behind this than I expected. And the research is pretty clear on, it's pretty clear that doing a proper warm-up consisting of, some dynamic mobilization, some very light lifts, maybe a bit of a generalized warm-up, some kind of, cardio to get your heart going, that combined is going to be what you need to prevent injury, to activate your muscles so that they're going to perform better and you're going to be stronger, you're going to be faster, etc. It's going to make everything better. You're going to recover better at the end of your workout because it's not going to be such a shock to your system when you're doing heavy work. And I believe, I can't remember exactly, but I believe that the performance recovery aspect, so you don't recover strength as quickly or quicker relative to what you normally would. So it's not really going to help you that much there, but that's kind of to be expected. That's just one of those things. But at the very least, it can help you eliminate or reduce delayed onset muscle soreness. So that's great too. So yeah, that's how to do a warm up. So do that. All right, I am going to go to bed. I'm super tired. I've been tired all week. I'm trying to catch up. But as always, like, comment, share, and tell me what you want to see next time. Bye.